In this video, we're going to show you how to make a set of lanterns using the Xmas Lantern Making Kit. Each kit contains everything you need to make 3 lanterns. The only thing you need to add is the fabric that you want to use. Inside the box, you'll find your adhesive plastic, your rings to hold the shape of the lanterns, double-sided tape, the plastic tea light holders, the finishing tool, and the instructions to make the lanterns. Here we have our 3 pieces of material that we're going to use to make our lanterns. We need to make sure that each piece is completely wrinkle-free, so we're going to give them a nice iron first of all. If you have got a couple of stubborn wrinkles in one of your pieces, just use a bit of spray starch to iron it out. Remember, with spray starch, you spray on one side of the fabric, then you flip it over and iron on the reverse side. So once we go through and do that to all our pieces, we're ready to go. The first step in constructing our lanterns is to place the piece of material right side down on a sturdy, flat surface. Then we're going to take our piece of adhesive and measure it into our piece of fabric, deciding what part of the fabric we want to use. Then we're going to grab a ruler and a pencil, and we're just going to mark a straight line along the grain of the fabric. This ensures that the adhesive is nice and straight, and we're not going to end up with a wonky line at the top of our lantern. Now we're going to take our adhesive and place it where we want it onto our piece of fabric along that ruled line to use as a guide. Now simply peel back the underneath paper side of the adhesive to reveal the sticky underneath. Place it where you want along your line and onto your fabric. Give it a really good push down so that it sticks, and then start to peel the paper back from underneath, going as slow as you need, keeping your adhesive along your ruled line, all the way down until you reach the end. Give it a really good press to make sure there's no creases or bumps underneath the fabric, and it's a good idea to do this on both sides just to check. If you find you've got a bump, just peel back the adhesive slightly and redo it. Next, we're going to take a pair of scissors and we're going to cut out our piece of adhesive now that it's stuck to the material. We're going to cut directly against the edge of the adhesive. Don't worry about any seam allowances, it's all built in. Here we can see we've now finished cutting out the entire piece, and we're going to reveal our seam allowances using these ready-made kiss cut lines. To reveal, all you need to do is snap back the fabric and the adhesive. It might make a few horrible clicky clucky sounds, but that's okay. It's just the glue releasing from the fabric. Make sure you do the same to both sides. And then we're going to gently peel back the adhesive to reveal our nice and clean seam allowances. Nice and gentle, no need to rush. You don't want to rip it off like a band-aid. Here we can see now we've pulled off both sides, and we're just going to take a pair of scissors and cut off any loose frays that may have appeared. It's easier to do it now than later, so just snip any of those frays. The next step is to take your piece of double-sided tape, and we're going to place a single line along one edge of your adhesive, nice and close to the edge, as close as you can, only on the adhesive, not on your seam allowances. Snip it off at the end. And this is what's going to join our lanterns together. We're going to peel off the top of the double-sided tape to reveal a nice sticky underneath. Now we're going to grab our 2 metal rings and our double-sided tape, and we're going to make our rings nice and sticky to form our lanterns. Simply place the tape in the center of the ring, and we're going to roll the tape all the way around until we get back to where we started. Once you get back to your starting point, just grab some scissors and snip the tape. And then we have our prepared ring. Now we're simply going to press the tape around the ring. This is ensuring that the entire ring is going to be nice and sticky, ready to create our lantern. Do the exact same thing to the other ring. So we've got 2 rings covered in double-sided tape. Now we're going to peel the top of the double-sided tape off each ring, revealing the very sticky rings underneath. Once you've done that to both rings, we're ready to roll our lantern. Here comes the fun part. We're going to place our 2 rings right on the edge of the adhesive, as close to the edge as you can without actually going onto the seam allowances. It can be a little bit tricky to get them placed because they're so sticky, but once they're in position, the rest is very easy. We're just going to roll the rings at an even pace all the way down the adhesive to create our lantern shape. You can see as we continue to roll, the shape is beginning to form. When we get close down to the edge, we're going to let our double-sided tape meet up with our fabric, and that's going to seal our edge. We're going to give it a really good push down on the table to make sure it's sealed completely, and then we're ready for our next step. We're just going to get rid of the bulk of the seam by grabbing a pair of scissors and cutting out the little square of fabric on the inside, as you can see here. This just ensures that when we roll our fabric over the ring, it's nice and even and it's not going to be too thick and bulky. Do exactly the same to the other side. Grab the scissors, cut straight down to the ring, and then across to take out the little square of fabric. Now we're simply going to push the fabric around over the ring to create our nice rolled finish onto the top and bottom of the lantern, all the way around. And here's our lantern shape. The last thing we need to do is get the finishing tool and push all of the seams underneath the ring to give it a really nice professional finish. You can use the finishing tool however you like, the serrated edge, the smooth edges, the point on the other side, just to push all the seams underneath the ring. And once you've finished that, the last thing we need to do is place in our tea light holders onto the bottom of the lantern. We're going to take the solid one first. Just push it down so it sits on the bottom of the lantern. Make sure if you have a directional piece of fabric, you've got it turned the right way around. Then we're going to take our donut shape piece and sit it directly on top of the solid piece. This is where your tea light will sit. Please remember that we're only using a battery operated tea light in these lanterns, not an actual flame. Here we have our finished lantern, and we're just going to grab a tea light to place in its spot. And here we have our finished and complete tea light lantern.